Good morning. Here from the Vegas Strip. Still early. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Bid 29 on the
Morning.
roulette wheel, please.
Good morning. So I'll give everybody just a moment to get on. Anybody have any thoughts or questions before we get started?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bid 29 on the roulette wheel for me, please.
Bet
50
29.
bucks.
You know what? You're better off getting a pen and taking some notes. Your odds are better, Ron.
What a morning buzzkill.
Well, sometimes we have to be honest.
Yeah, it's okay. I love Vegas.
Hey, Rob, I have a question, and I had asked it during the Gary Ashton meeting last week, and I'm hoping you might be able to clarify because I think they were wrong. If we have a buyer's agency agreement with the buyer for, say, 2%, right? And the listing side is giving a seller's concession of 3%. Our buyer will pocket that additional 1%. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. They were saying no. So I just wanted to make sure. And it's called it has to be listed as a concession for whatever the buyer wants to use it for, right?
So
Not as specifically a concession towards their buyer's agent.
Right, Emily, one thing I'll just say is that, all this stuff is still being worked out. The settlement's not done yet, but that's my belief. And that makes a whole lot of sense. Chopper's up early, brother. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, so Emily, I believe that that's the case. I've heard some pundits talk about your ability to even renegotiate your buyer's agreement along the way.
Right.
Which would put a little bit of a change on that narrative there. I'll just take one more question.
Well, I mean, I would guess if your buyer's agency agreement is specific for each individual house, which I know was one of the ways that they were, or that it was posed, then you could adjust that buyer's agency agreement for each house if it's not a 6-month contract or whatever it might be.
So I don't, I could be wrong, but I see it being more of a contract for a period of time, like a listing, not a, variable contract based upon every home. That would seem to be a little bit defeating towards the spirit of what's looking to go on.
Correct. So you think they may come to us with a minimum length for the buyer's agency agreement?
So Emily, those are the details that we're going to have to just take as they come in, and we'll adapt to those. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but my thought is I don't think we're going to, if we negotiate it for each one based upon what they're offering, it seems to be going against the spirit of what's looking to be accomplished. I'll take one other quick question before we get started, and then I have a lot of content to go over here, and I want to try to be respectful of all your time. Any other quick questions before we get rolling? I know some of you in your local markets are getting, some negative publicity out there. And I think that, we need to take control of the news cycle. And in the era that we're in right now, we can be the micro leaders of our community through social, through phone calls, through mail, but we have an opportunity of a lifetime here to redefine and reposition ourselves in the market. So any other questions before I get started?
Go for it, Rob.
Fantastic. I did some homework, so I'm going to share my screen. Hope you guys and ladies don't mind. A couple of things to put in our head. Agility is sustainability. Okay. And I've said this second one a lot. The only sustainable competitive advantage is to learn faster than your competition and to be able to act on what you've learned. And that's a Jack Welch famous quote, and I've heard it said by Warren Buffett. So it's some pretty good company. So right now we have an opportunity of our lifetime to learn. So there's three buckets of realtors now, okay, and team leaders. Those who see opportunities and change and desire to gain market share in a changing marketplace. These realtors are leaders and are excited to adjust, adapt, test, and meet the consumers where they are. And that's the mission. I hope we're all in this category. There's a majority, unfortunately, that I feel those who will change reluctantly, complete the new forms, go through the process despite desperately trying to hold on to the old way. And then there are those 200,000 to 500,000 who are angry, outright resist, refuse to learn, refuse to change, will fail and exit the industry. Where do you think most of our competition is going to be? Anybody?
Hopefully number 3.
No, I don't hope I'm not hoping number 3. I think that there's part that are going to be angry. I think the majority are going to be ones that deny exiting the industry, that sit in space number 2. If you look around, you hear a lot of people, I wish it was the old way. I wish it didn't change, right? They're going to reluctantly fill out the new forms. They're not going to be anxious to figure it out. They're probably going to be told 7 times that they did it wrong, right? Now, who sees an opportunity? Who's excited to be in a marketplace where the majority will be in number 2 or 3?
I wouldn't say excited. I would just say, I'm a little bit concerned, but I think that change is always good. You know, we've been doing the business the same way for many, many years, so this might be a refreshing change.
I was at an open house yesterday and the listing agent was there and he was confronted by somebody who heard the news, a buyer, and she was trying to say, you know, if I go directly to you. But you know, I thought he handled it so well. I had my own clients, but I just ended up stopping and just listening to what he said. So it's really about practicing dialogue and being confident with what you offer, because I think afterwards he was able to kind of change her way of thinking and saying, you know what, a buyer's agent is necessary. And I thought it was so cool just to watch that and be a witness to that. So I was going to share that with my office people too.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because the media, everybody's got a different spin on it. You know, when I was watching the news, CNN, when I watch the local news, and everybody's got a different spin on it. They're not really precise on what the actual program's going to be like. They're all guessing. And like you said, Rob, you know, we don't know. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole because we don't know what's going to unfold between now and then. So best is to sit back, you know, absorb as much information as we possibly can from you and from, you know, what we can learn from our local board and our.
So Ron, we all have a choice. Like we have a choice to be one of these 3 people. And I don't know that you can be outside of these 3. I think there's only 3 choices. Okay, I think you're either excited to learn and adapt and to meet the consumer where they are, regardless of whether we're angry about how we got here. And I think you might be a little upset about why we're here, but I think that therein lies the opportunity. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So there are people who are excited about the change. I know, you know, Glenn Baker he called me up. He's really excited. Are you able to chat for a moment, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, you know, share with the group, like, what's your take on it in just a minute or 2?
I look at this like it's going to bring a new level of professionalism. And, you know, to your point, Rob, we do what I call a lot of pre-selling, meaning that if I know I'm going into a competitive situation, I tell all the things that the next agent's going to say wrong to the person so that they identify that as them being the agent that's not right for them. We've started the columns for your point 2 and 3. So basically, you know, my take on this is if you focus on the impact to the client and not yourself, you're going to win every single time.
Right. And we provide, I mean, think about, you know, how we impact people's lives. We help them move, we help them negotiate. In many cases, it's our skill which determines whether they get to buy a house or not, whether they get to be in the neighborhood and the home that they want to be in because of our skill, not just because of their financial situation or their desire, right? I mean, a confused customer will almost always fail, right? A confused customer will fail, a confused agent will fail, a confused customer and a confused agent, they're doomed, right? I mean, it's, you got a better shot at the lottery.
Hey,
So,
Rob, one quick point, like in New Jersey at least, there has never been a time that buyers need us more. Like never. It's hard as heck to win a house. You cannot navigate this on your own. So our value is there if we're able to provide it.
right, and if you're uncomfortable with the conversation, you will lose. Glenn, this is for your team members, anybody on this call, if you're uncomfortable or if you have anxiety about having the conversation, if you have, you know, shame, resistance to the conversation, I think you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And I think here's an opportunity for us as a group to determine, you know, how do we communicate what's going on? How do we control the messaging, right? P.T. Barnum, you know, once said there's no such thing as bad publicity. And there's another gentleman, Oscar Wilde, said there's only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, that's not being talked about, right? So the fact that we're front and center, it opens the door for a conversation. Okay. You know, we need to hijack or take back the news cycle, because the news cycle is, you know, universally wrong. I don't see one media that's covering it correctly. Has anybody seen any consumer facing media that's being
No,
truthful and honest with the news cycle?
no, that's what I was saying before. Nobody, you know, all these different news medias are all different. I don't even think they know what's going on. They're just kind of spinning different opinions on it. So,
But Ron, do you think that the news media has piqued the consumer's interest?
oh, of course.
Do you think the consumers think we're going to hide under a rock with embarrassment?
No, I don't think that at all.
I
I'm with
do.
Glenn. I think it's a good thing.
Well, I think the consumer thinks that we've been called out, and I think unless we speak up, you know, we're guilty. Does anybody
Yeah.
feel the way that we need to have that conversation? Otherwise, you know, silence is guilt.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I just-
Okay, so here, I'm gonna even there.
I believe we
Hey,
have to be upfront and forward thinking. That's going to be our guide to, you know, set ourselves above the rest. It all boils down to what it's always boiled down to, being
All right.
professional.
So now that's a pretty powerful statement. Silence is an admission of guilt, right? So when you meet your clients and you haven't taken control of the narrative, you might as well just say, I'm guilty of conspiracy. And there's not one of us here that's guilty of conspiracy. That's not one of us in this group that takes advantage of their consumers. So we have an obligation to take the narrative back. We are trusted advisors who help individuals and families make one of the most important purchases of their life. We shall not take this trust for granted, and we have a moral obligation, and repeat that, a moral obligation to educate and serve those who bestow this trust upon us. Is that powerful?
Yes, it is.
And
Hey,
if we
Rob.
don't do that, our silence is betraying our clients. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey Rob, it's Charles. Your comment on silence as an admission of guilt is spot on. In the court of law, silence is acquiescence. So you're spot on.
And we have, Charles, welcome to the group.
Thank you.
We have an opportunity to reach out to people, and they want to hear from us for once in a long time, even if they're not buying a house. Don't you think people want to hear from us? Like, hey, you know, I see this on the news, tell me about it, right? And there's a conversation that you can have, and when you have a conversation, you become top of mind and you might get more business. Okay. As team leaders and even as practitioners, there's a profound difference between knowing, understanding, and being able to teach. There's a profound difference between knowing, understanding, and being able to teach. It's like 3 levels deep. You know, there's a lot of times we know things, right? but we don't understand them. We're not immersed in them so that it comes natural, right? We have to think about the response. And if we have to think about the response, it doesn't come across well. Then when you're able to teach, AKA teach your team members, it's going to up your game. Okay. Your skill is going to be so much better. Just close your eyes and imagine that you have one of your agents that you really care about. Maybe they're struggling, maybe they're doing great, they want to grow, but you're so skilled that you can go into a consultation with their buyer or seller and you can hit it out of the park. And then they remember that performance, they remember that behavior, and then they model themselves after that. To me, that's profound. That's able to influence a lot of lives in a positive way, in doing what we all have inside us, but we may not be able to externally show to our consumers and our team members. Okay, so there's a profound difference between knowing, we all know what we're going to need to do. Understanding it and immersing ourselves in it is the next level, and then having it be second nature so that we can teach it and solve any problem. I honestly, I'm looking forward to helping you with any problem that you have because I'm not intimidated. I'm not always going to be right, but I'm always going to feel like I've had the appropriate education and experience. My North Star is going to be doing the right thing, and it's almost always going to work out. All
Hi,
right.
Rob. This is Karma with Remax.
Yes.
Okay. I am number 1 and 2, and I'm excited and also I met a lot of buyers are aware of it. I have an open house and I share with other agent that terrified. I said, why? Number 1, it's about time that this buyer, rather than going from agent to agent to agent, to stay with one agent with a contract. Number 1. Number 2, if you are a seller, at the end, it's the same. You're gonna you're gonna pay less commission for selling, but when you're gonna buy, you're gonna pay commission. At the end, you are almost equal. So you are not really losing anything. I'm excited about it, and it's about time that the buyer feel the value of us being an agent, not going from one to Sue and other agents. That's it.
So Karma, first thing is thank you for sharing. And first thing is, let's be proud of the service that we do. Let's learn how to communicate it, and let's learn how to share the strategy for communicating it to everybody that's on our team. So you have, team members that are reliant upon and trust us with their career, and you have homeowners and home buyers who trust us with that decision. We can't take that lightly. We can't wing it. The days of winging it are gone. Our mission is to showcase the complexity to the consumer and deliver the simplicity, right? Because there's more complexity than ever. And I think Glenn spoke about that earlier. And those who win are going to be able to showcase the complexity, not scare people, but say, hey, here's what the landscape looks like. And now here's how we help you navigate that landscape. Here's how we help you navigate the rough seas. We're an advisor, we're an educator, we're an insurance policy against things that could go wrong. Okay.
Also, you have shared an idea with us how we can in the future. I am not going to change the commission aspect of it until July 21. I'll leave all my listing, and I did talk to our clients for the people that I list home. I'm a lister. I like to list homes. So I share with them the new law. Believe it or not, they are aware of it.
Right, and Carmen, it's not even a new law yet, but it's something that's on the landscape, right? There's changes that might be coming down the pike.
All right.
And I wanted to get ahead of them, and I wanted to share with you some of the information that's been propagated in the media. So I have a couple other things that I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to open it up to a discussion here. There are 3 things that we must do, and I put must in capital, okay? Lead our team even when it's unpopular. It must be done, okay? Now is not the time to sit back and wait for direction from the board or, you know, a lot of us can say, oh, Colleen, I'm going to wait until it's all finalized. I don't want to. No, that's not what leaders do. Okay, it must be done. While others allow fear and uncertainty to control them, we must lead. Okay, if we're not leading, you know, our team members should leave us, our clients should leave us. This is an opportunity as a realtor to reach out to everybody that is in the process of selling their house that's got it listed. We need to call them immediately if we haven't already and have a conversation. We need to talk to all of our current buyers that are working with us. Then we need to reach back to all the buyers over the past 5 years or 3 years that made offers and were unsuccessful, and re-educate them. They want to hear from us. They don't want to hear their information from the media. And we have choices. If things are ultimately worse, okay, we can be optimistic and wrong. So if things are worse, we can be optimistic and wrong, or we can be pessimistic and right. Which would you rather be? I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Because if you're pessimistic, it might be a self-fulfilling prophecy as well. Okay, so this is the time to rise. This is the time to lead. This is the time to take control of the story. Don't let blog posts, don't let postcards, don't let the media define who we are, because we're not a company. You're not even RE/MAX. You're an individual running your team. You have your identity. You have your bundle of services. You have the reputation and integrity that you built over the years that nobody has the right to attack or diminish that from you. But silence is admission. Okay, silence is I mean, it's almost like death in this business. You can't allow others to tell our story. We need to embrace the opportunity to have a reset and learn new scripts and dialogues with our teams, because our teams, all their peers are fearful because they need us to lead. And we could say, hey, you know, with the change, let's get back to the office. Let's perfect our scripts. Let's do the things that perhaps they might have neglected over time, right? Let's do all of those things that we know needed to be done. But here's the perfect excuse to get everybody back in the office and learning the new paradigm, learning the scripts, the dialogues. And I'm telling you, when you go through this, when you role play, when you care about your team, you share with them what they need to do, what must be done, you will get better yourself. And you will not only not fear objections, you will not fear people confronting us. You will embrace and look forward to it. And you might even get to my mindset where if there's no objections, you feel it's a shallow victory. Okay. Use this shift as a reset to establish new norms. So don't just go through and say, hey, we've learned the scripts. Use it as a reset to get everybody back in the success habits. Everyone who would list you or any member of your team as their realtor should be getting contacted, and they need to know and hear from us immediately. We need to control that narrative. Okay?
Yeah, I'm making notes as you're talking, and that's one of the things that's on the top of my page. Start educating your clients right now.
I'm gonna put this in the put this link in the chat here. But I mean, does this all make sense? Does anybody want to push back? I want to serve you better, and I just want to be completely honest, and I want to poke the bear so that you can be the best version of you are.
Rob, it's Lynn. I don't want to push back. I just have a question. Rafazi and I spoke the other day, and something that my team and I were talking about, is there anything that can be put together from RE/MAX Select Group? Just a small blurb that we can share on our socials saying exactly what you're telling us to say, but just kind of a little summary of something we can share with our clients, our friends, our sphere, our social, just that if it comes from even a level above us, it might hold a little bit more water for them.
So does anybody have any communication that you've been putting out on social that we could start with? Or is there nobody that's, you know, I think most of it's going to be a conversation, but I do think that getting out there on social is
I see, oh, I'm sorry. I just have
I-
seen other agents from other brokerages have done like little videos and stuff and they've put it on their YouTube, they put it on their Instagram, something that we can share publicly.
sure.
I-
I mean,
Sorry, it's Trudy. I just tell buyers when I go out and show houses for now and just say that basically the only thing that we're certain of, or seems to be certain of, is that the GSMLS is not allowing the compensations to be put on the MLS. It doesn't necessarily mean that the seller is no longer paying compensation, but just following that, I got an email from CJ MLS, and because that's privately owned, they're still allowing you to put compensations on there. How does Remax Select stand with that? Because obviously I presume the lawyers are going to go after them.
okay, so Trudy, I'm gonna break it into two pieces here. One is the practitioner's guide to navigating the change, and the second is the consumer's guide. Now, we can come across and we can have a tint of anger and we can have a little edge when we communicate and say that the media is wrong, and you know, but if we have that edge and people sense it, it's not going to go well for us, okay? They're going to be like, wow, these people are belligerent as well as guilty. So what we have to do is we have to embrace and be excited about the change and say, look, you know what, there's a change happening where you know, buyers will have an opportunity to be better represented than ever before. There's going to be an even better marketplace to transact real estate because of this change in the industry. Okay, buyers will be able to select people and compensate them according to the services they provide, just like sellers have. So I'm excited to entertain and hear any of your questions. And Lynn, I'll put something together for you and get it out. And I'll have it by the Friday mastermind. And I might even send it out to the team leaders ahead of time. But that's
Thank you.
that's a great request.
Thank
And
you.
So Rob, if I could
push me to deliver as well. Yes.
So, with regard to CJMLS, the change that they made was that it is not a required field any longer. So we are in step with everyone else, and we are not a privately held company. We are owned by our members, which is every broker is the owner of CJMLS. We're not a realtor MLS. We are owned by our members, so we're not private. All of the changes that are being made with CJMLS are in line with what's happening across the board. So we're with you the same way. Just clarification.
So it's 9 o'clock. We have a choice. We can be excited or we can be angry, and that choice is ours. Okay, and it's ours alone. And we can lead or we can respond. Okay, we can feel victimized or we can take the message out to our customers and say, look, you know, people want to hear from us. People, you know, people might be, Rob, people might be like, oh, that's horrible what you guys were doing, Rob Durso. And that's an opportunity for us to say, you know what? It's not horrible. Let me explain how it worked. And let me explain to you how it's better now, right? Even if we don't initially feel like this is a great thing, we feel like this is a what? A money grab, right? I think we all feel it's a money grab, but can we not see the positive in this, even through the negative, if there is a negative? And can I see the opportunity through the challenge?
The opportunities far outweigh all of the negatives. But the opportunities phenomenal.
The group of people that are on this call here, I mean, the breadth of experience and knowledge and skill is, I mean, I would put this group of people on this call up against anybody. Like, we can solve any problem in the real estate industry better than anybody else. I guarantee you that. There's no group of 39 or 40 people that can get out of this and grow better than this team. I really mean that.
And Rob,
So,
one
you
thing
know,
I
I'm
would do is
humbled to
that-
serve you, and I think we should be humbled to serve our team members. Yes?
Thanks, Rick. It's
I
always
just-
your help that makes us better.
Yeah, thanks for getting up so early, Rob. I think one thing that I've been saying to the team as we go through this is, if you cannot message the whole thing, right? You can't solve all of it at once. You have to look at what the immediate needs and the short term and midterm and long terms are. And the short term is get your sellers to know that they need to get on the market, right? That this isn't going to be a good change. It's not, it's going to be a terrific change for them. Right now, we know what we've got, then we don't. If you're going to wait until July, you might find out what's in the boxes and what you want, right? So message that. Buyers, get them their home. If you can't get them the home, start transitioning that commentary once we have more insight into how it's going to look from a lender perspective and others, right? But we don't have the answer for that right now. So all we can do is suppose what it is, right? So I think you have to hit the ones that you do have answers for, which is prices aren't going to adjust. Sellers need to get their houses on the market and grab as much market share as they can, or mind share as they can, while they have that opportunity before things change.
You know, Glenn, my brother actually came out from San Diego to visit me out here in Vegas, and he asked me the question, hey, he retired from the military. He's like, so Rob, when are you going to retire? What's your plan? And I'm like, you know what? I just love what I do. It's not even, I was just like, gave him this look like, what? So, I mean, I really, if I weren't doing this, I don't know what I would do. Like, I'd wake up and I'd be lost. So, and if it was easy, there would be no fun in the game, right?
Yeah.
So this is your marching order. This is your opportunity. Some of us are team leaders and leaders in companies and branch managers. We have an obligation to reach out to our tribe. We have to reach out to our people, keep them positive. It's like, if there's 600 agents in this company and everybody has 50, people that they're actively working with, like, I mean, it's just massive, the reach that we have just from this call times 50 that's 30,000 people that this call is influencing directly. 30,000 people, and there's probably a lot more than 50 people that we need to influence in this process. So, I'm finished. If anybody has any questions you want to ask, I'll keep the format open, and I want to try to keep it to the 9 o'clock time frame. Anybody thoughts, comments?
I just have a quick comment. I believe when we educate our buyers and sellers, we eliminate the fear of rumors. We need to be the educators, the people that take the step forward to educate our buyers and our sellers, because they will tell other people. Instead of everybody making up their own, idea of what this is, the clearer we can be, the more forward we can be, the more professional we become, the more professional we are. So I think it's a really good thing to get out there and let people know what's going on. Everybody wants to know. You're not interfering with them by telling them this.
Right.
You're stepping up.
And Colleen, you probably as much, if not more than anybody else, you have a genuine concern, care. You have a desire to mentor and lead people. And I just think that everybody needs to find that in themselves, because I look on this call and everybody's amazing. Like, one's more amazing than the next. And this is our time. This is our time to shine. This is, when it first dropped, it was a surprise, right? But now this is an opportunity. Okay, this is our time to make a change that's never been seen, like in my career. So don't let a good crisis go to waste.
Absolutely. Step out of your comfort zone. It will benefit you tenfold.
Yep, and some of us on here are not yet with us. If you haven't gotten that document, you can just text me and I'll send you a link to it. The document I put up there and went through. I know it's not rocket science, but I mean, it's really very basic. And if you follow it, I think we're gonna influence so many people in such a profound and positive way. Nothing else for me, guys, ladies?
Yeah, I got one for you, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
Rob, I got one thing to say. We keep talking about educating the customer and so forth, but it all starts with us getting educated. And I just wanted to take a second and say thank you, because if there's anyone on this call that digs in to find out the facts and educates us in the right way, it's you. So very much appreciated.
Jeff's my dear friend. Thank you for that comment. And I just want to help. There's abundance, and the more we share, the more we get. Eric?
Yeah, I got a question. So this doesn't necessarily mean sellers are paying less in commission. It's just talking about how they could be credited as a closing cost to buyers, correct?
So as it appears right now, it's yes. It's just a different way. Like there's no money created. There's no money saved by just changing the rules. Okay, the rules have just changed. And those who can explain the rules better, okay, will benefit.
Right.
I mean, I haven't seen, Rob Durso, has anybody seen any new forms that have been created from the leadership? No. Okay, so the more uncertainty there is, Eric, out there, the more opportunity there is for us to be the resource for the consumer. Right. What we do know is that, that coming down the road, it's likely that sellers will have more options. It doesn't mean that they're going to save the commission, because a buyer is going to look at it and they're going to say, if I'm paying a commission and I'm not paying a commission, I'm going to adjust the price accordingly. Or you just simply ask your sellers, hey, Eric, if we have 30% less buyers because we're not offering a concession or a commission to the buyer brokers, do you think that's going to be good or bad for us in our plight to get the top value for the sale of your house?
Bad.
And I remember, from Tony Robbins, for those of you who have ever gone to Tony Robbins, there's three things that I remember. Two of them were from his date with, I guess his 4-day class where you do the fire walk. One of them was, you become the average of the 5 people you associate yourself with most. And the second was, ask a better question, live a better life. Okay. And, those are a couple of things I think are really important. Then I spent a week with him at Business Mastery. And let me just tell you what I learned from that. Business is math. It's all about the numbers, right? The numbers drive the decisions. So even though you don't want to know the numbers, it's a numbers game, okay? And that's what drives results. So, Eric, it's okay to say, hey, you know what? Here's what we do know. Here's what we don't know. I'll keep you posted. But I do know that the sellers aren't going to be enriched because the commissions aren't being paid. I feel certain about that. I think in 2 years, when you look at the statistics, I don't think they're going to play out like the sellers benefited. And I also don't think that, I also don't think that home prices are going to fall because the commission structure has changed. Anybody think that's going to happen? It's supply and demand.
No, but I do think, Rob, that there are agents giving false information, wrong information out there by saying that, oh, the listing commissions, realtors commissions are going to be cut in half because now the seller only has to pay his 2.5% to list the house.
But that's the opportunity for us, Eric. And nobody sells better than you, Eric. When you're face to face, like there's nobody better than you. Right. Now, if you just perfect the dialogue, you're going to be exactly where you are now or ahead of the game. And then if you can teach that to people on your team, life's going to get even better for you in the business. Okay, it's gonna be an exponential positive change. Super excited about it.
Hey, Rob,
Me too.
Yes, Chopper.
today's headlines are to terrify, not to clarify. And to Glenn's point, we have to become more professional. Our buyers agents are going to have to show their value proposition. And someone had said at the end of the last meeting, and I like the semantical twist, that we tell our buyers, your fee's going to be half of what it was before.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I like that.
Someone said last week at the end of our meeting, they're going to say to the buyers, your fee now is half of what it was before. And I think
Yep.
that'll resonate.
Yeah, I mean,
The semantical twist, but I think it'll work.
if we have conversations with knowledge and confidence, even if we don't have all the information, we don't want to wait until all the information is here, because then it will be too late. Okay,
Listen,
we need.
Rob, if they're going to make a buyer agency agreement a requirement in the state of New Jersey or the state of Florida, puts everybody on an equal playing field.
Bring it on, right, Chopper?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I'm passionate about it. I care about every one of you. There's nobody in this company that, is here just because the math. Our leadership team knows that, there are people that we see and like, not a good fit. So I'm here to serve all of you. If you have any individual questions, please reach out to me. I'm surprised I don't get as many direct questions. I'd like to say it's because I'm doing a good job sharing it, but maybe you have questions that you're not asking me, and I'm volunteering to either answer them or just give you my opinion on how we navigate through it. So let's run with this opportunity. Let's take advantage. Chopper and I. Is anybody else out here in Vegas? I know Bobby Golden's out, right, Rob?
Yeah, if he's not there yet, he's on his way. He should be.
Okay. So maybe next year we could all plan a little bit more in advance and have a big showing out here in Vegas, and bring a couple of your top team members as an acknowledgement of a job well done. That would be fantastic. So Chopper and I, we got to take some good notes here and bring some information back next week. All right.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thank
wonderful,
you.
productive week. Bye, guys, ladies.